Thank you so much, and good morning. And for those of you there, take a look out. You're seeing Killinger. I lived in 168. I think I lived in 214. So it means a lot for me to come back to Westchester, where so much of what I do in making my living as a studio owner and as a presenter and an adjunct professor really came to focus very well back in 1983 and 84. So we're going to get started. And basically, focusing your light deep within each of you. You've got a passion for what you want to do. You know that passion better than most other people. And today we're going to look at different ways to help you fine-tune that so that while you're here at college, you're getting things ready so when you make that magic walk and get that diploma, you've got a head start on what to do next. Stop waiting for someone to give you a job. You're going to start working on developing your career. Now, what I'm hoping, my goal for you this morning is to really, really relax and think about where you're headed. We're going to have sometimes we're going to have some interaction on that, but the thing that I can offer you today was I remember walking into Anderson trying to make sure I was on time for class. Heading over to the cafeteria, I remember all these different things, the anxiety that you have. At this point in my life, I'm 27 years into running a business, and I'm also hiring people. I'm watching what's going on in the economy. So I'm here to give you a peek as to what's really happening out there, to give you guys the best possible shot of getting to what you can do. So, have you identified your passion? Most of you probably definitely have your major in mind, and now you're really thinking 2, 4, or 5 years from now. How is that going to come together for you? One of the most important things to do is to balance your passion, is to understand that it can take you away in the wrong direction. You've got to discipline what you want to do. Figure out how it's going to work. Don't start spending money on the really expensive car right away and getting yourself into some kind of crazy debt situation. Figure out what is really going to work and look at those adjustments and take it one step at a time. Baby steps to the ultimate goal. What that's going to require sometimes is patience. And that's why I put paint dry, turtles race. Have some patience. There may be a select few of you where that's just the totally wrong way to go. You've got it figured out, and if you don't excel in 2 years, you're going to be behind the curve. Others, for most of you, use some patience. See what's going on. Take your vision, your ambition, and your drive. You've got that vision, but it's going to take hard work. You're going to have to really focus. If you study what Steve Jobs did, he worked very, very hard. He was not a slacker. He was not hanging out on the beach. He was constantly working hard. He pushed his people to work hard. He had that drive. That's where it took him. Progressive Enterprises Sound Studios. Started designing it when I was at Harrisburg Area Community College in '82. And when I came here to Westchester is where, in my senior year as a business management major, here's the historical document. Back then done on an IBM computer with a 5-inch floppy drive, and I was happy to get access to the daisy wheel printer. Now, I bring that up as a point of, okay, that's where I was in technology. But a lot of what we're going to describe today is going to be counteractive to the phrase, we don't know what we're teaching these kids that they're going to need to do in the future because we don't know what the technology is going to be like. Very true. What we're going to be talking about today, though, are the soft skills and other talented situations that will apply no matter how business is conducted in the future. So we're going to look at things like that. In the studio, we specialize in writing music for radio, television. We've done a lot of jingles. We've done custom music for video. Dialogue editing was one of my specialties. And I used to do projects for Investors Hotline where I would have 2 days to take a full pancake of reel-to-reel tape that was 60 minutes of some of the leading investors throughout the world and make it 25 minutes. On the passion of how did that come about, one of the reasons that came, then I started liking dialogue, which most people who are audio engineers don't like dialogue, is because I used to listen to KYW here, 1060 AM, because back then you didn't have CNBC, you didn't even have a way to get on the internet. If you wanted to know what was going constantly in business, at 5 minutes of the hour, they had a little business report. So that was just an area where I could find my passion and make it happen. So we also have students come in from Harrisburg Community College for labs and all sorts of other areas that we do things. Our motto's always been, it looks great and sounds better. It took a while to get to the point of this studio. It didn't happen quickly. It took time. What I'm showing you now is the concept of what I call raw entrepreneurship. You're going to see a time lapse of about 7 to 10 years to build the recording studio, the main studio that we have. We built the first one quickly in '89. It was one small room. But when it took to getting to this, we really couldn't sell the property that we needed to finance this. So we had to finance it ourselves. What you're watching here is how to save $350,000 by doing the work yourself. This is going to lumber auctions. This is having a concrete truck and then having someone who knows how to finish concrete, but also finding out that you're 4 inches low on stone in certain areas, and the truck's coming and you've got to get it going. You've got to get it together. Raw entrepreneurship is a great way for you to save money if you start a business or if you're working with someone who has a business, because you're able to sit down and then take the opportunity to say, what can I do? What can we do ourselves? It was also important for me at a certain point to realize I don't know how to really finish drywall. I don't know how to do certain things like doing pavement. So you delegate those out. So that's basically how the whole place came together. But what you have to ask yourself when you use the idea of raw entrepreneurship is time versus cash. When you're starting and you're right out of college, you're going to have more time than you have cash, most likely. So you can actually get involved in doing things. When I was here at Westchester, I bought a keyboard. It was a Sequential Circuits Profit 600. $1,900 saved up, cutting grass just to have it. I used to carry the keyboard out of Killinger over to the music building, which was Swope Hall. It would have been even worse now because the music hall is, down the street even further. But when it came time, it's like this cardboard box is going bad. And Dad and I said, well, we can build a case for it. So we got the plywood, we got the indoor-outdoor carpet, we got the padding, and instead of spending $350, we spent about, I don't know, $50, $60 at a hardware store and actually built a good rugged case that lasted many years. You also got to understand your construction skills. What can you do? You don't want to get involved in something that you don't have a skill for. Technical skill is the one I'm going to talk about right here. I am not good with a soldering iron. So anytime anything's built in my studio, we always have someone else do the soldering. Just a skill I never acquired. So knowing how to delegate things is important because sometimes you're going to want to do it and it has to be done again. You've lost time and now you're spending money to have something done yet again. Now, boring means bigger dollars. In the recording business, one of the reasons I'm in business is because I do commercials. I do the industrial audio side of what's happening. It's not just rock bands. It's not just cutting that great heavy metal lead. I diversified, but that makes a big difference because a lot of times some of the most profitable situations you could do are going to be boring, and that's okay. Embrace it. Klein's, we're doing the job right. It's a jingle we did. Septic pumping service. Not very glamorous, but they had a great line. We're doing the job right. I literally wrote the jingle while I was sitting in the boardroom and they were describing the whole thing. The thing goes on television. They're running it locally in the Lancaster area on Oprah and Dr. Phil, and it blows up. It goes crazy. The next thing they're doing is they're taking the jingle and the donut we did, and they're sitting there going, hey, looking for a job? We're hiring at Klein's. And they took that to the next level. So boring meant bigger dollars. The Real Estate Cyberspace Society was a project I worked on for 12 years. And this was where, in '96, a gentleman by the name of Jack Peckham actually saw the internet way back in the 60s, except he viewed it as a telephone with a screen on it. And he was a very, very successful real estate agent, and he could see what's happening. Right now, show of hands, in the next 5 years, if you're going to go buy a house, are you going to start your search in the internet, or are you going to ask for a big book with magic pictures? Which are you going to do? Who's going to do the internet search? Who's going to do the internet search on their handheld? Probably. Who will start the internet search on a laptop? '96, we were trying to convince these agents that this is what's going to happen. People are going to just leave these, big MSL listing books, and they're going to leave, just tell me where to go. They're going to come in and say, I have 3 properties I'm interested in, can we see them this afternoon? And it's going to happen that quick. And that's the way it was going. So what happened was, in '96, we're like begging these people, and they start catching on, I better start paying attention. And then, bam, they went completely past us, to the point of about 2-3 years ago. Get around here. The iPhone, basically, we don't need you anymore. We've got it all here. We can shoot video. We can take our pictures like you talked about. We can post them on the internet like you guys talked about. And with the combination of the whole economic collapse in so much of the real estate market, it just came to the point where that whole process is just slowly ending, and we phased it out. But for the longest time, I was sitting there with the dialogue, editing this and learning it. And guess how I put it to use? Last year, my wife and I put our house for sale. We knew exactly how to prepare it, how to use our agent. We planted the sign at 3 o'clock on Friday. At 10 o'clock in the morning, the house next door went into foreclosure. Despite all that, because we played it right and we did our prices right, we had offers starting on Wednesday, and we took the offer the following Friday. And we settled in August. Pretty much a rarity for what's going on in the real estate market, but that boring information really helped us get through that. So understanding the levels, and I bring this up because some people, when I go to talk at different places where I mentor high school students especially, they're missing out on the importance of the entrepreneur, the visionary, the risk taker. It's being criticized, it's looked down upon, when in fact it should be looked upon as, wow, these are the people who are giving us the job, creating it. So understanding the levels, you have customers, the lifeline in your business, you have to take good care of your customers. Then you're going to have the caretakers, the hands-on staff. You've got to take care of them too. They're important. All 3 of these are very, very important areas. And for you, each of you, you're going to hit some of these. Some of you will be the entrepreneur. Everyone's going to be a customer somewhere. And if you get bad service, what do? I'm not going back. Always keep that in mind when you are treating the customer. It makes a big difference. So we're going to start talking about tools for success. Some specific areas. Education. Never stop learning. You're going to want to I got through it. I got the degree. Good. Take a week or 2 off, but keep learning. The internet is a great place to keep doing research. There's going to be certain periodicals you're going to want to keep up with, especially in my area, it's like Mix Magazine, Keyboard Magazine, since I'm a keyboard player. Keep studying. Have that curiosity. That curiosity is going to make the biggest difference on staying viable in your area, but also just being a step ahead of other people because, oh, you really understand this. Good. One that's very important that I came to a little bit later, but I'm very, very involved with, is to be a mentor and to also find a mentor. The first thing you want to do is find a mentor. If you get a job in a business, and you have a fictional business, you're working at a place that's got 50 employees, bound to have someone who's older to just sit there and show you the ropes, that you can talk to, have breakfast with once in a while, have a cup of coffee, and just really say, hey, you're on the right track. But you need to be careful because people are complaining about a certain project you're doing, and it's not moving fast enough. At the same time, all of you now could be mentors to incoming students at the school. Just really help them. Where do you guys want to go? What do you want to do? You guys got a little carried away this weekend. Don't do that. But you're surprised how much being a mentor as a business owner to my interns has helped me. I'm working on almost my 40th intern, 30 alone from Lebanon Valley College. And they teach me quite a bit. They really do, about technology, how things are going. And at the same time, I'm very, very happy to show them, okay, where do you want to go? Where do you want to be in the next 5 to 10 years? How to get them to that level. Your reputation is very important. It's your reputation. Own it. Protect it and enhance it. There she is. My friend Don took me in the cafeteria one day in January 1984. Sat down with these girls, and Lynn said, do they have tartar sauce here? I said, yeah, it's right over there. 23 years we've been married. We met right here at Westchester. It's another reason. She really wanted to come today, but she had a meeting. She is director of speech therapy for Health South. She took a lot of classes at Wayne, and it's just, she really wanted to kind of be here today, but she had a stroke meeting. She could not get away. But it was like, oh, yeah, the Joe guy, he's pretty cool. You like him. It wasn't like, oh, he's got all this baggage. So keep that reputation. It's very, very important. Writing skills. We're going to hit this in a lot of different areas, but the reason you're doing these papers, A, they want to see, the teachers want to see what are you actually absorbing, but B, they are preparing you because writing is going to be one of the biggest keys on you getting to the next level and to accelerating at your career. The ability to write. We're going to talk specifically about your MS skills, Microsoft Office. How many are Mac users? Are you using Microsoft Office on your Mac? Okay, that's important. Because right now, I still haven't made that jump. I'm still using the Apple software. So anytime I want to export and send something, I got to double check, is it encoded properly? But you're probably better off going just with the Microsoft Office, having that installed. Know everything about that program as best as you can so you can own it. So when a project comes up, sure, we can put the spreadsheet. We can go ahead and I'll type everything out as a nice proposal. Now, emails. This is still the main way business is being conducted. When you're trying to get in touch with someone, don't start automatically with texting. The email is still very, very important. Texting is very, very helpful. I'm going to hit that real quick. I use it quite a bit in my business. I'll give you an example. I'm doing a concert. I'm in the back of a church at a pipe organ. And I've got lights. I don't have a dry ice machine, but I know I can get incense burning. So we got incense going to really make that nice effect so when the lights come on, it's like, whoa, it looks nice. Get a text from my wife. We're dying down here. People are coughing. What can you do? Text the stage manager. Turn the incense off now. That all took place in less than 20 seconds. You didn't hear the phone ringing. Oh, I got to go. Now I got to go dial something. Texting can be very, very useful. But what you don't want to do is to be texting things that should be in email or things that should be in a more sophisticated Word document. We'll hit a little bit more on that a little bit later. Your emails. Avoid this. 9-point, red, hard to read. I get these from students, and I'm bringing this up because you're leaving this world of, okay, fun emails with my friends, to a professional area. Notice this. Right here is my signature. It's got my address, it's got my email, it's got my cell phone number. Notice that everything is spread out so that when they respond, they can just go right here and start typing. They can go right here and start typing. You're doing this to respect the time of the person who you're trying to work with in this email. And if you're doing this and half the other people aren't doing this, guess what? You're ahead of the curve. Cell phone courtesy. A lot of older people are turned off when they see people your age just sitting there talking on the phone all the time, texting all the time. Know when and when not to do it. It's very, very important. Your answering message, let's start with that. What you want to lose if you have it is leave a message. Ralph, leave a message. Who's that? Hi, this is Joe. You reached me at Progressive Studios. Please leave a message. Have a great day. Something short, something polite, something that makes people want to work with you. When not to use your phone. If you're on a sales call or in a business, you want to pretty much have it on vibrate. It's okay if it vibrates, you take a glance and put it down. That's understandable. But what you don't want to do is just to say, oh, I'm going to talk to them now, and I'm going to talk to them now. You're kind of really ignoring that person. Know when to do it. Now, at the same time, if you know, look, I've got a leaking pipe, and I'm expecting this plumber to call to tell me what's actually happening, if you announce that ahead of time, people appreciate it. They understand. When you have to use your phone, this morning I had your phone number already logged in. There's Dr. Monica in case, because I'm on the turnpike. Anything can happen. It's a foggy day, deer, car accident, anything can happen. I was ready that, oops, I'm going to have a problem. I'm going to be late. So you know immediately. If you're going to be late for something, a quick text or a quick phone call is just, oh, okay, I get it. 10 minutes late, I can adjust. Because they can use that 10 minutes more productively instead of, are they coming? Where are they at? Again, you're being respectful for the people you want to work with. Life's not fair. Great scene from a great movie every Christmas. And I bring this up because a lot of people just think, wow, I'm owed something. I'm here to tell you, you're owed nothing. You're going to go and you're going to earn it. It's the big difference. Leave envy behind. Don't let envy run your life. Sit there and figure out how I'm going to work harder and get there. So I'm here to give you one of my favorite tricks for doing it. Networking. It's not what you know, but who you know. And some people think that is so grossly unfair. And in some ways it is. But you can work around it. You can get to know people. And I'm going to give you a great example of how this happened for me. Deb comes into my studio. This would have been probably June of 1989. She's got a startup little ad agency. You know, it's got some interesting ideas, but let's go ahead. Let's work on these. Let's help you out. So at that point, I could decide this is a waste of time, big mistake. No, we're going to work with Deb. Next thing that happens is Deb brings in Mike Scalzi. He's the one on the left. This is Michael McDonald, singer. And Mike Scalzi came to the Harrisburg area after being in New York radio for years. I mean, one day we're listening, there's a Billy Joel song, and he starts smiling. I say, okay, tell me the story. Billy Joel comes in, we play this, and we start talking about how it's going to be a big hit. And he really worked with a lot of people. So I really went, you know, this guy's got a very good voice. I could give him a script, and then, you know, we could read it, and then he could shave 2 seconds off. He knows how to punch words. And I really pursued a friendship with Mike Scalzi. So much so that this past year, he was in between jobs. Like, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. I got to go flip burgers. I said, no, you're going to work PR for me. One of his PR jobs, finding you. And that's why I'm here today. Because, hey, we're going to go out and do more speaking. Great, let's check out Westchester. Found out Dr. Zimmerman, and that's where we went. So that networking continued. Mike starts working a job at Chocolate World. Anyone ever go to Chocolate World in Hershey? Check it out. And they have the little trolley. Ian here is one of the actors. And he goes, you got to go see Joe. Because not only was he an actor, he could write the script, he could shoot the video, he could play trumpet on the music that he wrote, and started helping me at the studio. And guess what? He could solder, which I couldn't do. So here comes Ian. We get to be good friends. We help him out. And then he becomes friends with Brian Kreider. Now, Brian Kreider at this point is running the Pennsylvania Film Bureau. His job is to go to Hollywood and say, you ought to shoot your movie in Pennsylvania. And it's a good investment for the state of Pennsylvania to do this, because if they're going to shoot films in Pennsylvania, look, for me today, we've got 3 guys here in the back. Now, if you have to move them, you have to feed them, you have to drive them around, you have to put them in hotels. A film, trust me, it's 50 to 100 people. It's a lot of business that comes in. And if it's shot right, hey, wow, look, Hills of Pennsylvania, we should go on vacation there. It's a good thing. So this is what Brian's doing. Comes, sees my studio, and goes, wow, this is pretty interesting. It's really neat. You got a good thing going. One of the people that he was working with was Major Dick Winters from the Band of Brothers. Now, if you don't know the story, Major Dick Winters in World War II paratrooped into D-Day, lost his guns going in, and became basically having to run a platoon almost immediately because his commander was killed on the way in. Marched the whole way through to Hitler's nest. An amazing story. Spielberg did a great job with it on HBO. So here we go through this whole networking thing. I'm suddenly working with the History Channel. They're coming in to interview. And Dick Winters finds my studio and loves it. They're not bringing these cables into my house. We hate that. We could set them up in the green room. We could set up a TV studio for them. We got to be very, very close friends. Taylor Downing, we had to get him in here. The following day, he had to leave because he had to fly back to interview Nazis who were still surviving to get their story. And this is the whole crew. We got together to just do everything that one day. So, networking. It makes a big difference. And you want to go beyond networking. You want to become a connector. This is where we get interactive. Look around the room. Does everyone know each other? Does everyone know every other person in this room? Great. Here's how you do it. My name's Joe Trojack. I'm the class of '84. I have Progressive Enterprises Sound Studios, and I'm also launching Fire Up Now, where I'm going to go to school and encourage kids with career options and entrepreneurship. Start. Go. Just stand up and tell us who you are. What's your major? Management. That was my major. Any interest, things that you want to do with it?
Like outdoor work, construction kind of stuff.
Okay.
Hockey, so
Good.
definitely an interest.
Okay. Good. Next.
My name is Scott Meeker. I'm fresh from Westchester, business management major.
Okay. Let's go next aisle. And I have an example coming up just for you. Great. Go ahead.
My name is Chris Irv. I'm a junior at Westchester. I studied finance and economics. I'm looking to get an internship this summer. Also maybe get into the investment field when I graduate.
Awesome. Go ahead.
Tim Hutchinson, also a business management major. I work at a restaurant currently. I'm looking to kind of get into something in that field.
You like the restaurant field? Do you like front or back of the house? Front of house? Okay. Interesting. I did both, so good. Go ahead.
Tracy Beaver, junior political science major. I'm actually very unhappy in my current field that I'm working in as well, so I'm going to make a change. Different passion-wise, not psychology and counseling, but I'm not sure.
Have you worked on any campaigns?
I work currently for it.
Okay. I've been involved heavily in politics. I know what you mean. It can burn you out. And you could always still do parts of it and everything like that, but if you're making a change now, that's neat. So, next.
Chase Dumont. I'm a junior, management major, and I want to run my own business in the construction field.
Construction field. Very good.
My name is Kevin McGarvey.
And what kind of company?
Driveway Shield Coating Company.
Okay, cool.
I'm Matt Benson. I'm a senior finance major. Got a pair of personal training businesses back in New Jersey starting up, working on it again.
Very good. Next row, let's start with you.
I'm Mike Tomko, graduated from Westchester in 2010. I'm also my PhD from graduate assistant here, and my plan graduated with my PhD in criminal justice.
I'm Keith Whiteley. I'm graduating senior this year. Been in working construction right now. I'm also a volunteer fire lieutenant for downtown. Not sure if I'm going to go to fire career or business management career or entrepreneur.
Fire career, let's talk about that for a moment. I'm mentoring a guy who wants to go into firefighting professionally. It's a very interesting field, very dangerous, but you're young, and I mean, there's some interesting opportunities. So that's one to definitely check into.
I'm Donald Kermit. I'm a management major, senior. And eventually I want to get into the sports industry because I have a passion for sports.
Sporting is very good. We just did, one of the things I mentor is a career partnership in Harrisburg, and we just took, I think, 8 different schools, I felt like 300 kids, to the Hershey Bears for a business of sports. We went through everything from tickets, merchandising, food, trainers, very, very viable place to go into. And you want to just really look a lot of different options on areas you could do with it. So next, please.
Hi, my name is Virginia Morano. I'm a business management major and a Spanish minor, and I wanted to be a translator.
Nice. Good. Do you like to travel? Good. That will help a lot with that. Go ahead.
My name is Jack Casino. I'm a senior Westchester business management major, and want to. I'm starting my career at Wegmans in retail.
Nice.
Training, so
What part of Wegmans? What do you do at Wegmans?
I'll be working either grocery or general merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
As a manager, purchasing a lot of merchandise and planning inventory control.
Good. Interesting. Nice stores. Very nice stores. Go ahead.
My name is Megan Kudla. I'm a senior finance major. Not really like finance, but I'm looking to be a successor or my own entrepreneur in the commercial glass business.
Commercial glass. Okay. Interesting field. A lot of different things you could do, from decorative to just the standard thing. Also, you might want to also find out ways of cleaning glass. Okay. Yeah, my wife had a patient who was a glass cleaner, and it's very good, very good. Go ahead.
I'm a junior management major, Spanish minor, and my plan is to go into our family business.
So you run a greenhouse? How many greenhouses? Okay. Well, what vegetables, flowers? Nice. Good. Good stuff. Go ahead. Wow. That's an interesting niche. Very, very interesting niche. Have you been able to travel there yet? Okay. Yeah, but eventually, that's an interesting niche. Very good one. Go ahead.
I'm Nick Lucas. I'm a senior and management major, and I also have a family business that I'm looking to start into in appliances, and I'm going to start there and see what other opportunities I can have later down the line.
There's still certain family-run appliance stores still doing well. We do some commercials for Rosman Brothers, which are in the Steelton, Harrisburg area, still hanging in there with the big boys. So it's a good field there. Go ahead. Tax accounting? Okay, so this is your time of year. So you plan to become a CPA? There you go. I was an accounting major until accounting 2, and then I saw the tax book, and it's like, that's not for me. So good for you. Go ahead.
My name is Mark Garner. I'm a junior finance major. I've had a landscaping business since I was 16. Basically, it's just been getting me through school, so I'm not sure if I want to continue with that. I also like construction, renovating homes. That's kind of a family business.
You can combine both of those. You can combine both of those because, the winter times when you want to be hanging and finishing drywall and just plowing snow. And I feel bad for you guys this year because you guys are counting on snow, And the rest of us enjoyed it, unless you're a skier, but you guys, it was a tough one for you. So go ahead.
My name's Patrick Daly. I'm a junior accounting major. I work at the Mainsboro Country Club as the accounts receivable clerk there. And hopefully one day get involved doing forensic accounting, maybe the FBI or something like that.
Okay, interesting.
Hi, I'm Christina Santana. I'm a junior accounting major. I have an internship at the Defense Contract Audit Agency, media, and I work at the Philly Stadium too. And I hope to be in fraud accounting during my
Fraud accounting. You like to do the forensics and figure out whether, okay. That's an interesting thing. So there you go. Now here's what's really neat that you guys have that we didn't have. You guys could find each other on Facebook. You could do emails. I'm still trying to find friends of mine at Westchester who left, never graduated. And it's just like, his name was John. He lived there. I think he went to Patterson and never really got his last name. Get to know everyone. You got some interesting things going on, some interesting majors. So what you saw is, instead of just being in networking, I'm trying to become a connector. And it's something you want to try to do too. You brought up firefighting. I'm helping a young guy in my area named Rob to get into the 911 call center at Dauphin County. It's taking a while. In the meantime, the guy knows how to fix small engines. So we're going through my dad's old digger, and we got the stump grinder running. We go to the hardware store, and they're like, we're hiring. And he goes, you're hiring. So he went in, and then the hardware store really knew me because of the reputation again. They hired him like a day later, and now he's got a job. So when you can become a connector, people appreciate that, and they'll look for you as being a resource. All right, we brought them up. We're going to talk a little bit about Facebook and LinkedIn, the double-edged sword. Facebook, I don't do Twitter. A lot of people do Twitter. Okay. How many are doing Facebook? How many are on LinkedIn? Okay, so you're familiar with these. Facebook's more of the fun family. You can have some business things going with it. LinkedIn, pretty much the serious business thing. But on Facebook, you want to put out your best image. You don't want to put images of you getting trashed with bottles that are empty. It will burn you, and it will burn you quickly. I was speaking and talking with some people at another university. They brought Disney in. Disney was going to hire some of their people. Screen, 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 yes, yes. Brought these other people and said, we are not going to hire you because of what we saw on your Facebook. Get out. It was that blatant. People lose jobs because of that. At the same time, it's a great tool. I did a concert 2 years ago. I was probably like 200 to 300 friends at that point. 400 people showed up, 40 because of Facebook doing the event. We're going to do another concert in about 4 or 5 weeks. We're setting up the event right now, so it'll be a lot more. It could really get your information out there. There's a lot of people, my Facebook friends, waiting for the post after today. How did the thing go to Westchester? And one of them is Kevin, who was one of the guys that lived across the street also. He's a teacher in New Jersey now. LinkedIn is the more serious area, and that's where you want to also be. But with LinkedIn, you want to find groups that you can migrate to. A lot of you guys mentioned construction. Construction, one of the difficult things about construction now is materials. When you can find materials that are cheaper, you might be able to, find information through LinkedIn sources on that sort of thing. So, double-edged sword, use them, but be careful. They will burn you. Now, this is one of my favorite ones, and I talk about it, and you're already doing this. This is back timing. This is being prepared ahead of time. It's not procrastinating. My alarm went off at 5 a.m. this morning because I knew I had to drive down here. But not only that, I'm taking care of my mom, who's 87. She's very frail health. She wasn't feeling too good, so I knew certain things had to be done this morning. I knew it was going to be foggy. Inside, in there is a jump drive in case this computer didn't fire up today, so that we can find another computer and quickly have everything going on. Back timing is important because what you're trying to do is to ease everyone's anxiety. And if you're being hired, that's just a great thing. He's got everything done. She's got everything done ahead of time. It's awesome. Instead of, they're not here yet. They're late. It will burn people. It will not make you as attractive. When you own a business, it's even twice as important to be able to deliver things on time. The cool thing about being in college is you're learning back timing skills right now. You know what you have to do for your final papers right now. How many of you play sports, even intramural or actual? How many are doing any kind of acting, singing in a choir, or anything along those lines? There you go. That's what's good because it teaches you to be organized. It teaches you how to get the most out of life, how to be a diverse person, but to make sure you're still on time delivering your best. That's what employers and customers are looking for. Don't announce the final score too early. I've worked with certain people who started a business and they thought they had it all figured out. Literally got into an argument about which island they were going to buy in the Caribbean. 2 to 3 years later, the whole thing just fizzled out. You never know exactly how certain things are going to go, so don't go crazy on this is what it's all going to be exactly like. You can give visions, but watch how you get, you're carried away in there. Backing up your data. So primarily everyone's here more of a laptop person. Jump drives, they're your favorite friend. And they're cheap enough that you could have one at home, one hidden somewhere in your dorm or your apartment. You could even hide one in your car if you know where to hide it. And that's important because what if your house catches on fire? Hey, it's in the car. You've got it somewhere hidden. Figure out exactly how to encode your passwords. Those are very important. But it's so much easier to back up things than it used to be. Clouds. How many are actually using clouds for backing up? How's that working? But you've been able to get on and not an issue. I'm kind of torn on it. A friend of mine was really into it because his house was hit by lightning. So anything that was turned on got fried, but since he was on the cloud, it worked. I've hung around some IT guys, and I know how sometimes they get a bit cocky and arrogant. And I just always know that, the wrong kind of IT guy, losing his job at the same time his, wife is leaving him and his kid's doing this, could do a lot of damage. So clouds, I'm still a little nervous on. So that's why I like to have both things. Go ahead.
They have like the iCloud or whatever. Mm-hmm. And literally my phone, the top button that turns off the screen.
Yeah.
Stayed in. I went into the Mac store, Apple store, and I handed them my phone. And literally just handed me back my phone or a new phone and said, "Here." Didn't ask me any questions. I literally went in and all the information that I had on the iCloud.
It was all there. How long did that take? Amazing. Mm-hmm. It's a good cloud story. I just get nervous because clouds turn into tornadoes. They have hail. They have lightning. I just can't just like, yay, clouds. But that's actually a good situation. I like to see both as far as backup. But that backup's real important too because if something goes wrong, your client's going to want that. This is one of my clients, the game plan for aging we did with Mark Everest. And right now, guys, girls, your health is really, you're coming out of that first quarter of life. He breaks things into 20 years, 20, 40, 60, and 80. Anything over 80 he calls overtime, which is what you want to really strive for. But you also want to have the quality of your life. And the more you're doing now to work out, to eat properly, everything like that is going to make a big difference. And you're able to actually do your job, do it well, be attractive to an employer because, yeah, they got their act together health-wise. But then you could really just, go through and just enjoy your life a lot. Design a workout that fits you. I know what machines. I like the Gazelle. I like my Total Gym. I love the swim whenever I can. Figure out, is it volleyball? Is it walking on a golf course? Figure out which ones you really enjoy. Aerobics outside the box. Gardening is an awesome exercise. You start digging, planting, moving around things, wheelbarrows and everything like that. That's a nice workout. Also, pay yourself $1,600. You know how to do that? Anyone want to guess? That's my guess on what a pack of cigarettes a day cost a year. $1,600. So if you're not smoking, don't even go near it. And if you are, find a way to quit. And a person who used to work with my mom quit. And what she did was she took the money, with about $2 a pack then, put it on an envelope, just saved it, saved it, saved it. 2 to 3 years, paid for her daughter's wedding, a big part of it. So it's just, something just to consider. Community. What you can do to help your community. What you're going to find when you're working in business, and especially when you're working as a business owner, charities are going to come after you all the time. Can you help? Can you help? And you have to really take your time to choose and pick which ones mean a lot to you. It could be cancer research because your grandparents had a problem with cancer, whatever you want to do. But the one that I'm very, very passionate about is I'm working on my 3rd gallon of donated blood. And the moment the 2 months are up, they're calling me already because there's a genuine blood supply. So what I'm asking you to think before you get ink, before you get a tattoo. Because once you get the tattoo, you're off for a year. They can't take you. They can't take the risk. But consider donating blood. It's something that you can really help people with. So when you have your act together, you can help others the best way possible. This was a tornado that happened outside of my area in Campbelltown. Came through, saw it coming that day. It was forecast. We lost power at the studio. I would say about 8 houses got totaled. A lot of other houses got done. But with having my business going, having a little bit of spare time, changing a few things, I was able to get my chainsaws out there and just help people clean up their yards and get their life back together. So that's the best way you can help other people, is to have your act together. Another modern goal, which is neat, that I heard a lot of you talking about, is to prepare for multiple career paths. Back here in our little thing here that I was talking about when I did my program, and this is the way we did graphics back then. One was a career path to be an industrial salesperson. Another one was to actually start the business. And a lot of times in this economy, you need to be prepared to just kind of see what's going on. A lot of you guys mentioned construction. That's neat because you can go into construction. You mentioned dance. You could go in and be a dance instructor. You could do a lot of different things. You may have to do a lot of different things until you find that ultimate plateau of what you really, really enjoy. So nothing to be afraid of on that. Just actually start thinking it through. Are you good, with a skill in a restaurant? Are you good with a skill in construction? Other areas, tutoring. Tutoring could be another area that could be good. So each day, track your progress. Get the most out of each day. That's the key to happiness, I find, for what I'm doing. Recap at the end of the day, events that were worth remembering, and cherish your accomplishments. When you accomplish something good, when you have a graduation, have a nice graduation party with your family and friends. Enjoy those accomplishments, especially when you get to the business level. Okay, we're going to hit now into small business examples, and this is going to be neat because a lot of you guys have already mentioned some of these, and that was neat to hear. Let's go. Jackson House. Mr. Jermaine Jackson in downtown Harrisburg, his father was a slave. Started a house where people could stay, and they built a restaurant into it. Amazing story of how this gentleman got things started and how it carries on to this day. It's open for lunch, 11 to about 2:30. State workers, it's right down from the Capitol. If you go there on a Friday, there are people out the door waiting to get in. Awesome big burgers, awesome subs. If you want to eat healthy, they've got options for that. But it's got its small niche. It tastes great, and it's lunch. That's it. The Shore. Imagine being a teacher, and then you decide, I don't want to be a teacher anymore. I want to go down to the Outer Banks, and I'm going to start my own seafood boat. Well, the boat doesn't work out, but what did work out for Steve was he's really, really good at cleaning fish. And he knows how to vacuum seal it. He knows how to freeze it right away. So he found how to get on Odin's Dock. Anyone ever been to this place? Outer Banks? It's down in Hatteras. Awesome stuff. So then he started little seafood shops. You can come in, buy the seafood. It's all on ice, extremely fresh. But what's so neat about Steve, look at the smile. You just want to be around Steve. You can't wait to talk to Steve. And the tourists come back every year. How you doing, Steve? What's going on? Found an interesting niche. Friend of mine just started this. He just opened it last week. Heavenly Scents. He sells candles and incense. He was doing it on the internet and doing really well, and he decided, I need to start a storefront, which is the total opposite of what's been going on in the industry. All the brick and mortars are drying up and they're going online. And it's an amazing little shop that he's got going. Really, I mean, he says, here, smell this candle. And it's like barbecue chicken. But there's a niche. Someone wants that barbecue chicken candle. I don't know who, but he's found a really interesting niche, and he's taking it to the next level. It's a friend of mine that I grew up with. Rain went to New York University, worked to the Smithsonian, and about 2 years in the Smithsonian, found an interesting niche and started his own furniture refinishing program. One article in the Washington Post years ago is still how he got most of his business. People still talk about that article, and they bring things, oh, this got spilled, this got knocked over, can you fix the foot on this? And you come into his house, and it's like an amazing, the history of all the different furniture that he's doing. Again, boring, tires, boring. But these guys have the greatest attitude. They figured out one day if you dial their number, it spells jerks. So they just said, okay, dial 54 jerks. And everyone caught on to it. Hey, is this the jerks? But they're just great guys. They take good care of you. They're located in Harrisburg. They've got multiple people from Maryland driving in and 2 from Arizona. They're just locals. They know it, and they trust them with their tires. Alley Cuts. This is the lady on the right who cuts my hair, Jolisa. What's interesting about there, you call, their hours are totally dependent on what their kids are doing. They totally set their hours according when their family's not, they don't need them. It's just an interesting niche, and they're busy as all get out, doing very well. Bobby helped me build my studio years ago, started his own AV company, doing, if you go into most sports bars right now, you've got televisions, you've got multiple televisions, you've got sound systems, DJ systems. Same when you go into a modern church. It's not just a small little microphone anymore. There's big screens. There's, the hymns are not even in books sometimes. They're up on the screens. All that AV type work, he found a great niche, and he's doing very well with that. Now, this is for my accounting friends here. This is my CPA. Monday through Thursday, this is what he's doing. Payrolls, tax preps, and then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, he's on his farm raising grapes. 2 businesses that are doing very well. But think of that, just about the time when you don't want to look at another spreadsheet. Tomorrow I'm going to be out there in my shorts, tying everything, doing all the spraying and all that. And then about Sunday when he's like, okay, I'm getting a little sunburn, I'm ready to go in the air conditioning, he goes that. So just some things to think about. Cafe Frisco, great set of restaurants in the Harrisburg area. He started level 2 up on the 2nd floor down on the strip mall, down on 2nd Street. And what's interesting about that is that I came in there, and he knows me very well. I'm wearing shorts. Can't let you up. No, you're not dressed enough. So he's actually found a very, very niche. And what's good there is you want to get healthy food. You want to get, burger and fries. He's got it. Mr. Schneider, he actually does band directing during the day. Weekends, he's got this truck going, doing very, very well. Trucks like that, it's a portable thing you can do. Jacob Hitz, doing all kinds of machine working, just metal work that people don't want to do. He's very, very talented at that. Company dance, here we go. Michelle used to dance for the New Jersey Nets, come out at the intermissions and do everything like that. Every year she comes in. This year it's like, whoa, 3 acts. It's about 35 pieces of music. And they come to me because I'm Captain Razorblade. Here's this piece of music. It's 5 minutes. How are we going to make it 3? And then we sit there and we find ways to cut it. We cut narration. And they'll take the Hershey Theater, fill it up for 2 nights, And it's just a great niche of what they teach. Anything from 3-year-olds to adults, tap, ballet, everything like that. She's found a great niche doing that. St. Thomas Roasters. The guy just not only has a coffee shop, but he roasts and he sells the beans. That's the key. People buy those beans in other locations. Anyone ever have Trojack's Java Head? It's a great little beer. He does the beans for Trojack's Java Head. And this is another one. You can't outsource plumbing. You can't just call India and say, do my plumbing. It has to take place here. Tim Mosher takes care of all my plumbing needs. But we were talking with some of you guys in the construction business, and he feels exactly what a lot of your parents have been feeling in the construction business. He used to have 4 to 6 guys working for him. Now it's just him and his son. And that's basically where they're at this period, just to keep the thing moving and going forward. He's expensive, but he's very, very good. Now, another area for you guys to look into doing is virtual assistants and doing internet work from home. This is a viable thing. You do want to watch because some of the work from home situations are a bit shady. You've got to watch them. But there are some people who just know how to go and write things online, who know how to do the right kind of surveys, that are just actually making a pretty decent living. It's an option, and it's a great part-time option. So that's one thing to consider there. One thing, if you want to go into business and you don't know what you want to do, you're afraid of starting up, find a franchise that you like. Nancy's got, I guess, 3 Ritas going. I think she wants to sell 1 or 2 of them now. And it's just, you know, today's their big day. It's the free Rita's Ice because it's the first day of spring. Janice Creason had a collection agency. And she kind of got tired, and she decided, you know what, I'm going to run for politics, and she's the county treasurer. And she's done some interesting things on fine-tuning and changing things that are going on in the accounting, especially for small tax collection. Wayne Lytle and I were both here at Westchester. We had a little band. We would play, 2 of us playing keyboards, and Wayne at that time explained to me, I want to start a business where you can have these graphics, and if you're going to do a song in 5, you could actually see the pattern going with the lights so you knew that it was in 5. Anna Music is an incredible thing. If you ever watch public television late at night, they use a lot of his things, a lot of his DVDs as fundraising portions for their fundraising. And what's neat about it is, you know, he writes and composes this music, and then all of these different software is set up so that all these graphic things just match exactly with the music. And has been involved with some films and some other commercials. Okay, so time now to focus on your light, which we already did. A lot of you guys got some great ideas, things that you want to do. What's needed out there? If you're not sure and you're still thinking, consider the following. We need better batteries for everything. Batteries have come a long way since when I was a little kid, and you've probably seen the same thing, but we still need better ones. Ones that can handle in cars and not catch fire as easily. Better batteries just for laptops and everything along those lines. You want to really get away from oil. We're going to be on oil for the next 20 to 100 years unless someone says, I've got nuclear fission figured out. Nuclear fusion. My bad. Fission is what we got now. Fusion is what we need to imitate the exact source of what the sun does. There's no waste. And then the replenishment of brownfields. That's going to be key for a lot of inner city areas. How do you can't just keep ignoring this problem. At a certain point, there's going to be someone who says, okay, we know how to come in, we know how to dig, deal with the water, we know how to take the soil and treat it, and we know what to plant there. That's going to be a field in the next definitely 20 to 50 years. So keep your interest and fascination with life. Is the glass empty? Half full. It's my buddy Riley. Comes to the studio, got all sorts of health issues. Comes in to sing, and when he sings in the studio, all his problems go away. This kid, with what he goes through, has every right to go in that corner and just scream and complain, and no one would argue with him. He's got a tough road. But instead, he finds what he could do with music, and if he could find what we're doing, that means that we could stay off the island of negativity and despair. You want to avoid this. There's all sorts of negative things that you're going to go up against. You're going to have relatives say, oh, what are you getting a job over there for? Why are you trying to start a business? Some of it is honest, good, tough love, and you've got to work with that. But you've got to avoid people who are just going to constantly tell you it's not going to work. You're marrying a Protestant girl, Joe. You're Catholic. 23 years later, how many people told me that and they're divorced? Lots of starving composers out there, Joe. I've gone through a lot of those. Avoid those as much as you can. People with goals succeed, and you guys can do the same. Postpone your gratification, sacrifice, work hard, avoid the negative attitude, and give 110%. Go the extra mile beyond the finish line, and you can do it. And I thank you for your attention today. How are we doing on time? And okay. Yeah, I'll be happy to talk with you if you have questions you want to talk in front of the group. I'll meet them privately. Anyone have any questions they want to talk about publicly? Go ahead.
Did you work in the studio before you built your own? Like, how did you know how to
When I left here, I went to Lebanon Valley to study audio engineering in their program. So I got the feel for what was going on. I was always working just with keyboards, mainly doing composition with a computer, which now you could do everything on a computer. Back then you really couldn't. So I got the feel for what was going on. But also here at Swope Hall, we had their electronic music studio, one of the main reasons I came to Westchester. And it was really neat then because it's like I could do all my business things, and then guess what? I'm taking the astronomy class, and they want to do a really, really cool planetarium show, and I got the right to music for it. It was one of the first things I actually got the right music that was interactively used. So definitely just, from trial and learning and working at one other studio. I did intern and actually did, come in and actually do some work and some projects. That's when I found out I really didn't want to record bands. I wanted to work on my own music, and I loved the industrial side of it. I just really, really became enamored with that. But that room is designed by David Still of Environmental Acoustics. If I had designed that room, it would not have sounded that great. But we delegated that and found out how to do that. So, any other questions? I got a couple questions then. From the time you came in here to the time now, are you feeling more confident about what you want to do, or did I just scare the heck out of you guys? More confident? Just one. The rest of you are scared. I appreciate the feedback because we're just, fine-tuning. We've given this presentation several times. I'm just always looking for feedback. So, go ahead. Good. Appreciate that. Okay. If you got other, go ahead. Mm-hmm. Good. Now, there's a lot of you who are entrepreneurs, because I do have the entrepreneur presentation, which we could talk about. Would you like me to come back and give strategies for freelancing sometime? Okay, we'll set that up. That's a lot more focused on when you actually start a business. And that's the one I needed to hear when I was your age. And that one we go through a lot more on the specifics of what you're going to have to do with an attorney, accountant, everything like that. But that one's a lot of fun to give. I would really love to do that one here too. So, okay, any other questions then? I guess we'll have some snacks and get to talk a little bit. Thanks again. Appreciate it.